I like it. So
Illuminate.
we are live, guys. We are live. Here's Dan. Dan's
Happy
with
Halloween, everybody.
Is everybody dressed?
Is DeFi Dan vacuuming?
Yeah.
Yo.
What is going on?
Mr.
Yeah,
John's looking
everybody's outfits. Holy shit. Oh my god, you're a ninja. And Glojita is Goku again.
Yeah.
Go.
Lumenswap.
Mr.
Or,
Ginsler.
Yamcha.
I have
And what are you, Ben?
you.
I think I'm just a lazy like Guy Fawkes.
Okay.
After last night, it was like, oh my god, I went out and went too crazy. I just drank too much, and I've got to show you this picture. I'll just wait for a few people to jump on, but I've got to show you this picture.
Yeah.
Harley and Jan have kindly shared it already on Twitter, but I've got to show you because my wife, she ordered me an outfit like it's supposed to be a vampire.
Yeah. Okay, I saw something on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. And it turned out it's a woman's extra large vampire outfit, right? So,
On purpose.
So you guys doing something new together.
Oh my god. Okay, so we've got Lumen Dave with us. So Cheesley is in the house. I've gone lazy tonight. What's up, Sean? Just with the mask. In a minute I can flip it because you can't hear me properly. But we've got Dan with us. So we've got special guest. We've got DeFi Dan. He is in the house. So it's great to have Dan. We're just waiting for a couple of people to jump on. I'll just put the banner on. So let's have a spooktacular. There we go. Have a spooktacular November, Lumenswap fam.
Nice.
Go back to the comments. Jay, your pup is so freaking adorable.
Thank you. He's the best. We're fighting crime together.
Look like you're about to do a fatality like off of Mortal Kombat.
It's a good outfit.
Thanks. I couldn't find Catwoman. I went in last night to Spirit of Halloween, and of course, like, it was all picked over. I'm like, what do we got? This was one of the few options left.
Yeah, I was looking for a hospital gown. I couldn't find one. I wanted to have a sign that said "sick of these gas fees."
Oh, yes. That's what we're doing. Like, we're fighting gas fees.
Yeah, exactly. Let's take a screen grab while we've got our masks and our outfits on. Put your mask back on, Jen.
All right.
There we go.
Right, 1, 2, 3. Hang on. Let's just wait for that to come across. 1, 2, 3. Yep, got it. Perfect.
Hey.
Nice one. Welcome, everyone. It's great to have you with us. We've got DeFi Dan in the house, and we're excited about that. He is let's just change this and click onto that. Okay. He is a commentator on YouTube and on Twitter. He's going to give us the details of where we can find him when we have a little conversation with him in a moment. But it's all exciting stuff. You know, it's our first guest on the show. Of course, we had Harley initially, and then he became part of the furniture. So it's like the BJH show now, Lumenswap show. So he became part of the furniture, and now we've got DeFi Dan, as I say, commentator on Twitter, on YouTube, and other places. And it's great to have him with us as part of the Lumenswap wider family. And also all of you guys that are in the comments. I know it's Halloween tonight here in the UK. A lot of you probably out with your kids and doing stuff. So, you know, I understand if you can't make it live, but hello to everyone watching on Catch Up 2. It's great to have you with us. Okay, so what we're going to do tonight, slightly different setup, is we're going to just have a little chat with Dan. All of us, myself, Harley, Jen, just going to ask him a couple of questions, get a feel for like what he's doing, because I think it's good if we've got a special guest that we give them the maximum airtime. We'll take a couple of questions from you guys, and then we'll just wrap it up with a few things that Lumenswap are doing over the next week. So I hope that's going to be cool for you. First off, before we do that, I've got to do a screen share. Okay, so if I just quickly share my screen, share screen, application window, let's have a look, Brave tab, and this one. Okay, let's share.
Like cross-dressing?
So this picture I shared in confidence with my two co-hosts, and they decided that it was good enough for their Twitter. So I've got to explain this, that I'm not normally dressed in these weird women's black dresses, only on Halloween.
Definitely needs context.
That's what I said earlier, didn't I? So the funny story is that my wife, she ordered the Halloween outfits this year. She went to a party last night. So she ordered the outfits and she showed me like what she'd ordered. It's supposed to be like a vampire outfit, you know, with like big kind of cape and all that sort of stuff and a stick and everything. And then I was like really excited to actually get it. I was like a kid. And let me just go back across to StreamYard. There we go. And then end the share, stop screen it. So yeah, I was like a kid getting the parcel arrived. I was like, yes, I've got my Halloween outfit. I'm going to try it on. My wife was out with my daughter. I'm going to try it on. I'm going to see if it all fits and everything. And then it was like, oh my God, it's a woman's. It said women's extra large vampire. So I thought, so I took that picture to set, because my wife was out. I was like, are you effing kidding me? Like this. So I took that picture with like a surly face, you know, going like, this is what's arrived. And of course, then last night I had a couple of drinks. I thought, I'm going to share it with these. And then they were like, I'm going to share it with the world. So there you go. That's the first and only time you'll ever see me in a dress. But it was good. It was fun. It was fun. Okay. So Dan, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
The way we're going to do it, mate, is it's not going to be under any kind of like, you know, pressure or anything like that. All it's going to be is just a few just generalized crypto questions from each of us, right? If you don't want to answer that or you don't know the answer to it, then just say, is there any chance you just ask me something else, or I'm not really sure on that? Okay, it's not going to be any pressurized situation.
Yeah, sure.
So the first thing for me, mate, is you know, how long have you been in crypto? What kind of triggered you? You know, how did you fall into the space? And you know, what was the thing that made you first go and buy your first stash?
Okay, so I would say about a little bit over a year now, basically a year and 3 months. I got here a little later than a lot of people, but I'm lucky that I have some mentors who are like pretty big in the game. Like I have a couple analyst friends who are like whales, and they've really helped get me up to speed. I was doing stocks and options prior to that, and I quickly realized right away that crypto is where it's at. That the returns in crypto are much higher than you can make with stocks. I mean, apart from maybe Tesla, Shopify, Amazon, maybe like there's a couple of unicorns in stocks that'll give you like a 7x in a year, but you won't really find that in stocks like you will in crypto. So I first started out as an XRP maxi. Like I had 100% of an XRP portfolio, and oh yeah, you know the fucking deal. Sorry, I'll try not to curse. But yeah, so I used to be a complete XRP maxi. I did a lot of research before I was buying my cryptos. Like before at first I liked Ethereum, but I was a little bit greedier, and I was like, oh, what's really going to grow? Would number 2 grow, or would number 3 grow? So I figured that number 3, you know, I mean, you guys are Stellar guys, or you're a Stellar guy, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. A 5-second transaction window is unreal, and sometimes it's even 3 seconds. It's the same as on Stellar too. It's basically like it's a rotating window every 5 seconds. So it's either like you either started at that 5 seconds, so it's like a 2.5 seconds, or you're ending that 2.5 seconds. So usually it's about a 3-second window that you have for your transaction speeds on XRP and XLM. So like I was saying, I thought that was unreal, you know. And then I started seeing the banking connections and stuff like that, and that's actually kind of, if I fast forward really fast, that's kind of what got me into Lumenswap, because like I always knew Stellar was like the truth, right? Like I knew Stellar was a great project, but once the lawsuit happened, I started diversifying into other things. But I always knew, I was like, man, but Stellar is on the same blockchain and same co-creator, not on the same blockchain, but you know what I mean, same co-creator. Stellar has a real chance to also, you know, really become a winner, become a top 10 crypto or even a top 5, you know? So yeah, I think that's what got me into Lumenswap. I got not very familiar, but you know, once the lawsuit happened, I started branching out, and like I've been in a couple different projects here and there. Like I've spread myself like wide with knowledge in regarding DeFi, and yeah, so that's how I got into Lumenswap, because I was like, man, there's you guys know Sam Bankman-Friedman from FTX?
No, I don't personally.
I don't either, but I know about
do you guys know FTX? Like the exchange FTX, they're big. They're in the US though, so you might not know them, but like they're like the Coinbase competitor in the US. Like FTX is newer, but they're coming. And so, long story short, like my investment thesis, he's the youngest billionaire on the planet right now. I think he's like 30 or 31, and his big call was Solana. So like his company raised a lot of money, like millions, and got into Solana last, I think, November, right? And so like that really paid off. But just to close that out, like his thesis, his model is investing into smaller ecosystems attached to big ecosystems. That's how you make mega returns, right? And that's what Lumenswap is, right? Stellar's already huge. Stellar's already in the billions, you know. So if you want to make a 20x, it's probably going to be Lumenswap and the assets that are on Lumenswap. You know what I'm saying? Because they're at the lower market cap, but they're tied to that ecosystem. So like when Proposal 18 goes through, right, and Stellar starts to moon, you're going to see that almost every other Stellar blockchain should start mooning, you know? So that's where I'm at, and that's how I got here with Lumenswap. You know, I think that like the Luna is the new asset that's just I would love to hear you talk about that one soon, Luna, for the chat and everything, because I saw it's like an NFT project, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to the growth of the Lumenswap ecosystem, because on top of the AMMs, right, you need really strong assets on the chain, on the like offered on Lumenswap. So if there's really strong assets on Lumenswap, right, it's only good for the price of Lumenswap. Like Uniswap is so special because Lumenswap has strong assets, right? BNB chain or PancakeSwap is so special because there's some crazy strong assets on there. So yeah, I'm hoping and looking forward to when Lumenswap they start listing more and more powerful protocols on there. Like Stronghold is on Stellar and Ethereum. So I saw Strong is on our DEX, right? Yeah. And now Luna also, you know. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I was really excited with that Luna announcement today. That really came out of nowhere. I know that Lumenswap definitely supports all of the NFT artists, Ink and Netty and Sir Cheesley, that are all coming up on the NFT. So it's great that we are able to integrate one of their projects into there. And hopefully, I just joined the JPEG DAO 10K club, so hopefully that one's next up.
Right. Yeah, that's me too. I'm right there at the 10K club. So yeah, I got in way later than all you guys. So, but I definitely see the potential here. I definitely think that, you know, this is, you know, a 20x waiting to happen over a few months. I don't want to overhype anybody, but you know, I definitely could see it happening, because AMMs are the game changer for real. They're absolutely huge. AMMs and the Ethereum bridge, to me, those are the two things that will take Lumenswap to the moon.
Yeah, I think you've put so much. I'm trying to actually.
Sorry.
No. It's amazing. It's amazing that you've got so much value in that one comment. I'm just going to try and unpack a bit of that for the community, because I think you've hit on so many key points that we really need to try and understand at a deeper level there.
Right.
Before we move on, that, you know, about the strong assets, that was a thing that immediately pinged in my head. You know, Stellar has, you know, or what we're building at Lumenswap is the fact of like an auction accelerator. So, you know, the project managers and the developers can come to us and can use our model that we've successfully seen, you know, like 140x increase in price, because the price was determined by the community, right? Because of the way we did the auction. So they determined what price they wanted to pay for the tokens. It wasn't us that determined the price.
Right.
And I think it's a really fair way of launching a token. And of course, being able to, it's more like a gamified, you know, system as well. So, you know, these projects, as you said, you know, there's some serious projects starting to, you know, unfold now on Stellar. There are some existing ones, but there are some now that are unfolding. And there, of course, as DeFi, as you said about like the bridge and, you know, the AMMs, you know, as DeFi flourishes on Stellar, developers and project managers are going to say, because of what you talked about with regard to the gas and the cycle time and everything, they're going to say, this is the place to be. This is a battle-tested network over 7 years. We know it's robust. We know it can scale, right? It can handle the amount of transactions. It's almost free, isn't it, in gas cost? And we can build out all of these different DeFi, projects and protocols that we see on all the different other networks now. And I just see, like you said, I think that if you've got that vision for, like you said, months, you know, that's another key aspect, by the way, for you to pick out of this, the community is, you know, Dan's saying there, you know, we're looking months down the line for this price appreciation. We're not thinking we're trying to flip over a night. we're thinking, okay, what's Lumenswap bringing? What's Stellar doing over the next 6, 9, 12 months? And then we're going to be looking at, obviously, as Stellar increases in popularity, then all of these projects that are solid are going to be increasing in popularity and their prices will be going up. And Lumenswap will be the place that will be used to swap these assets from one place to another, and also to create these liquidity pools where you can put them to strong assets together and you can start returning a yield. So that's an absolutely amazing answer to that question, mate. So with Lumenswap, you say obviously the bridge and the AMMs, you think those are going to be the two things. I think I'm really liking those two things, but also what's your take on like lending? You know, have you touched much, because you've got some experience in different areas?
Yeah, 100%. So you're basically talking about like Aave style lending, right? Like basically providing crypto as collateral and then getting a second, basically getting a loan against that collateral. Also, like Songbird's doing that right now too. I think that's absolutely huge. I think a good example of that would probably be like Polygon. Polygon did that with Aave. That's why Polygon pumped so hard like a few months ago. I think that was like April, May-ish, right? I think that the lending is a really, really like kind of crucial in crypto, because it's weird to say this, but like crypto investors are kind of degen, you know? And basically, like it's you basically what crypto investors would do with those loans is buy more crypto with it, right? So and I think that there's a lot of people, I have friends too personally who are taking out loans to buy crypto, you know, because at the end of the day, even if you're at I mean, this is not financial advice by any means, but like even if you're at a really high interest rate, like really high, even if you're at like 15 or 20% interest rate, right? If you're picking the right projects, you're gonna fly right past that. So I personally have friends who've taken out like 40K or 50K loans, like crazy amounts, just to buy crypto with it. And they're like, yeah, you know, like I'll pay the premiums, I'll pay the high premiums on my crypto if I get a chance to be part of this rush. And the collateral thing is the same thing. It's scary, you know. I think that's something that has to be said about like providing crypto as collateral, because like crypto is volatile, right? And it happens. I think it's live on Songbird already. I'm not sure. I don't know, Jenna, if you know this or not. If the lending is already live on Songbird, it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like right there.
It's not live until V2 goes live. But the thing I think a lot of people find scary about lending and loans is they think in the conventional term that we have it now, where you have to make payments every single month, and then there's interest on those payments, and it's like you can never pay it back. With the crypto loans, it's completely different. You put your crypto up for collateral, and there's a small fee at the end, and it's pretty much a self-paying loan as long as the asset goes up. And you just gotta be careful not to over leverage yourself, because you can't.
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm going at, is the over leveraging or under collateralizing your loan, because like if your asset dumps by 30% and you only had 15% in your loan as collateral, you're done. You're screwed, you know.
Okay.
And like you're saying, Stellar has the chance to, or Lumenswap itself has the chance to really excel here, because there's no fees on the network. And I don't know. I personally think that like if layer ones were hot, like I mean they're still hot, but like last month and 2 months ago, layer ones were really, really, really hot, right? And Stellar really is a killer layer one. I love it. For example, I just had to transfer some BNB last night. I believe it was last night, right? And I also transferred Stellar also. The BNB got halted, got frozen for like probably 3 or 4 hours, right? The Stellar right away. And like BNB is supposed to be fast. You know what I'm saying? Like BNB is not a slow chain. Like it's supposed to be fast. You got the Stellar one right away. The BNB, I think they said like the network was halted or something, or like they were undergoing maintenance. And I was like, what the, like that never happens on XRP or Stellar. You know, like that's something that it's kind of understated like by the rest of the crypto market. Like a lot of these guys are balls deep into Ethereum, you know, like balls deep into Solana and things like that. And it's like, yeah, even with layer twos and even with Solana also crashed last month too. You know, Stellar Ledger doesn't crash, XRP Ledger doesn't crash. You know, like it's kind of that simple when it comes to it. And I hope and I think that will reflect in the price coming down the line.
I think
It
it will.
will. That's why banks love it, though. Like, that's why XRP is made to be a bridge currency. I mean, if it had crazy fluctuations all the time and wasn't reliable, banks wouldn't even be looking at it. And XLM, it stays pretty stable, which I think is amazing. You guys were talking about, like, of course, loans and everything on crypto. Do we know if there are any, because I know NFTs are really new yet for Stellar, if there are any projects that on Stellar that we would be able to take loans out against? Like, I know many NFT projects you can on Ethereum, but I didn't know if that's coming for Stellar or if there's anything yet.
Not that I know of.
No. I think that ours is going to be one, from what I know, and I'm obviously a Lumenswap raving fan, but like from what I'm aware, looking at it on a balanced perspective, I think we're going to be one of the first to do that kind of thing, which is going to be sort of springtime of 2022. I don't know of anyone that's got any development going on at the moment that's going to be before that. But of course, we can talk about them as well if it does happen. But I think that kind of collateralized. I mean, we're going to be looking at a model that's a bit like Compound. So for you, let me share because there's nothing really private there, so I can share a screen and I can kind of elaborate. If we go onto a Brave tab, okay, so let's share this. Okay, so this is the one that I use, and I know it's a Lumenswap show, but we're talking about the lending from Lumenswap, right? So we've got to kind of try and understand what's the context of what we're talking about tonight. And this is Anchor Pro. So this is over on Luna now. So this is a completely Terra Money, Terra network. It's a completely different network.
Mm-hmm.
But this is one that I use. So when we're talking about this collateral, look, I can come here and you can see that my collateral value is about $20,000 on this, right? So I can borrow against this. And you see this sliding scale here where it says LTV. LTV, the recommended is 45%. So what Dan's saying is, don't go over too much because of price fluctuations. This is based on the price of the Luna token. If the Luna token tanks, right, then what happens is you can get liquidated. So if I borrowed, which I haven't at the moment because the net APR is very, very low, this was actually paying me. So let me get this right. When Harley was talking about self-paying loans, this is a 1.2 net positive APR on borrowing. So if I borrow here, right, if I borrow, let's just say 45% of this, let's just for argument's sake say that's $10,000. I'm going to get 1.2% return, right, not fees, 1.2% return on borrowing, right, $10,000. Okay, and this is the crazy thing, because in traditional finance, we're obviously having to pay interest against the loan back to the bank. Here, I'm being paid to take the loan, right? And this was up when I first started here, this was up maybe about 18% net positive. So I was making on borrowing. People would say, Ben, why when you've got 20-something thousand are you going to borrow? What's the strategy behind that? Well, the strategy is that here, I don't want to sell my Luna. I'm bag holding in this protocol, right? I want to keep this bag of Luna. And here, I may want to go and use crypto elsewhere. And Dan has touched on this as well. I may want to go and use it for whatever it might be. So I can borrow, I get a net positive APR on the borrow. And you can see here, look, I have to pay 25% to borrow it, but I get 26% for borrowing it, okay, back. Now I can go and use that, and this is where we call a leverage position because I'm borrowing more than I've got, right? But I can use this $10,000 then and put that into somewhere else to get a return. So let's just say I may want to take that out, and I may want to put it into earning. And you can see here I've also got $20-something thousand in the stable coin UST. UST is a stable coin, an algorithmic stable coin, right? So I've got $27,000 here returning 20% a year. You cannot get that out there in traditional finance. So if I wanted to, I could go to the borrow, and borrow the 10,000, and I could go into the earn and I could deposit another $10,000 in here. And as you can see at the minute, the expected interest on this in just 1 year is $4,200 for me doing absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Right? And this is what Lumenswap are bringing, this kind of collateralized lending. And this is where people, I don't think people fully understand the magnitude of what Lumenswap are bringing to Stellar. It's going to be absolutely massive, guys.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. Absolutely huge.
Was that your wallet, Ben?
Yeah.
Or like okay, what are your private keys?
But you can see that, I mean, like, that's just an example, right, of what you can actually do inside a lending client. So you can stake and get, like, 20%. And that's obviously an example on one network, right? Just one network. Then you think there's, like, I'm probably using maybe 15 to 20 networks to do different types of DeFi operations. Yeah, 15 to 20. That's one. And then you say to yourself, well, all of them, what I'm doing is I'm getting a return. So the $4,000 that we said will be interest, I'm not going to go and cash that out into pounds. I'm actually taking that and compounding it back in, like Dan had said, about using the crypto, earning crypto, taking loans and doing that kind of thing, and then using it in other crypto spaces. So what you essentially end up doing is compounding on top of compounding on top of compounding.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
You never, then people say, well, where do you go to put fiat in? I said, I don't need to. What do I need to put fiat in for? Because I've got that crypto being earned.
At that point, it keeps on earning, and the more you earn, the more you'll get. So it's a never-ending cycle.
Exactly. And as long as you diversify, I think as long as you go across, like Dan was saying about, being a maxi on one chain, that's, for me, it's like, no way. Because if you have any kind of issue on the one chain, no matter how much you love it, you're in the shit. Right, you need to make sure you're covering bases and saying, I've got so much here, so much there, and covering as many, not too many, but making sure you're well diversified so that then you can be earning here, taking this, exchanging it for that. And I think in the next year, we're going to see, where one token can basically be swapped around and be on another chain in a matter of seconds. I think the interoperability is going to be massive.
I think it's important for people to have a goal. Like, okay, so I think it's cool. And DeFi Dan said when he came in, he was a maxi of XRP, but to build your bag to a place where you're very, very comfortable, where you can ultimately do really cool things with it, and make great trades, great plays, whatever. But I think if you diversify too much and you have really small bags, I mean, to each their own. To me, like, I have to get myself to a place where I'm really comfortable. Like, I like this number. This is my goal. Cool. Now I'm going to look at something else. And I think, like, paying attention to when it's red, not when it's green. Obviously, these are, things that you guys know, but other people who are just coming into this space. And, sometimes dollar cost averaging is better for them as well, where they can put in little by little by little. But I really appreciate you breaking that down, Ben, because I didn't really know about that. So thank you for that information. I appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem at all. I'm always here, like I say, to help anyone. Of course, this is our show, but I think if it links into what we're doing, I think it's very important, that we talk about this and we, can share with the community. There's a question here from Michelle saying, you borrow your own money and make interest. Okay, to give you an example of that, going back to that without screen sharing, I went in to Luna when Luna was $5. Right, Luna's 45, roughly 42, 45 today. So you can see that's done 800% on my initial investment. And by me having that in its small pot of collateral, initially, because obviously it's gone 800% bigger now from where it was, but having that small pot, that's gone up, allowing me to borrow more against that. Does that make sense? So that because the price has increased from $5, and say I've got 500 of them, and it's gone from $5 and it's gone up now, and each one of those 500 is now worth 40 something dollars, the amount that I can borrow, that 65% maximum, or 45% that is advised, right, is now way higher than it was. So now that's way higher. I can take that out. I can go and put it into another protocol, start earning interest on that loan. It's absolutely, it's mind-boggling when you actually understand it. All you do is go round in a loop, And then you say, oh, okay, I need to go on holiday. And you just scrape off the table like a casino, take off these ones that I've made in the last week, and then put it into fiat, and you can go and buy whatever you want with it. But I try and live very, very simply, right? Because I don't want fiat. You can keep it. I don't want it. I want more crypto, right? So I try and keep all my stash in crypto because I'm bullish on it long term. So I hope that's
nowadays, there's more on and off ramps too, as well. I know I got an Uphold and a Coinbase card that I can just put either Stellar on it or XRP or whatever, and just swipe it, and it'll just go through like a normal debit card transaction.
Which is brilliant. I think we have some things in the UK, but I think we're a little bit behind the drag curve with the stuff that you guys have got.
But I think that's important, so we can get it.
I think that was a masterclass, Ben. I really do. I think that was a great. Because I feel like Stellar is a little bit isolated. Like Stellar fans are a little bit XRP people too, but both chains, the fan bases or like the investors are a little bit isolated from that side of DeFi, and I think that it's really, really cool. And like I stress the importance of teaching this community about that kind of stuff because like you're saying, the ability to that's really the goal to be able to have like big money on 15 chains. Getting interest back off of those loans on 15 chains, that's really what the goal is, because like you were saying, if one falls apart, right, it's really not going to hurt you too bad because you have your money invested on other chains. Yep. Yeah, like you're saying, you can reinvest that initial capital, and you basically, it sounds corny the whole be your own bank thing, but like it's literally possible in today's world, and in like tomorrow's world and next year's world, it's really going to be like front and center. That you won't really need banks anymore as long as government doesn't get in the way. And I'm from the US, so like I know all about the government getting in the way. Lucky for you, you're not, everything's looking good over there on your side across the pond.
I think that's when we start moving to Bali. It's like when you get crypto rich, you're not going to tell us that we can't continue this and we're going to go where we can, or we will figure it out. Like you're not stopping this train.
Yeah, right. I'm of exactly this. I think now why the going's good, and it's one of the things. I mean, I keep harping on about in the chat. People will be like, "Oh, he's boring." He keeps saying like "hodl LSP." Do not sell. There's a reason that I'm saying that. It's not just.
It's not financial advice, by the way, guys.
Yeah, of course, it's not financial advice on anything that you're seeing tonight because we're in the DeFi space, which is completely unregulated, right? So everything we always say is just us having a conversation. But the reason why I talk about that is because if you want to take a loan and you want to start this money-making mechanism or crypto-making mechanism, you're going to need to have the collateral on the front end. If you're in a collateralized lending and you want to take part in that world, you need to have the collateral to put in. That collateral is going to be put in the form of LSP. So if you are now selling out for a couple of bucks, because you want to go and get yourselves a Starbucks or something like that, you're missing the bigger picture. The bigger picture is accumulate the rewards, accumulate as much LSP as you can. Maybe you've got some good trades, some trading positions, great stuff. Accumulate that because the good stuff is coming. And when this stuff arrives, you're going to kick yourself because the token will appreciate in price. You won't be able to enter at the same or get the same amount of tokens for your dollars or your pounds. Right, so you'll be, I haven't got as much as I wanted to have. So this is a phase now where we're in 6 months of building out features. You can just keep accumulating. When the lending and the strategic side comes in, you're going to be able to have your own ATM. That's the way that it kind of works. That's what I kind of try and build now is my own little ATMs on different networks.
I love it.
So since we have Gary Gensler and we touched on this a little bit, how do you feel about the regulations coming in? What are your takes on regulations?
So I love one of the things I wanted to do is say finance, like Gary Gensler always says finance. I find that shit so fucking funny. Okay. But basically, I don't know. I personally think that the larger banks are involved with Ethereum and they're pushing Ethereum forward. So like they're basically trying to give Ethereum a little bit of extra time to build ETH 2.0. So then other layer ones like ETH, like Stellar, like XRP, like Solana, like AVAX, they're trying to crush them all. And like I'm a little bit passionate about this because like it's really messed up. Like if you watch the videos, there's a guy named Joe Lubin, right? Joe Lubin was basically he's like the
Lubin.
money and politics guy behind Ethereum, right? And so like if you go down the XRP wormhole, you start to see that like Joe Lubin basically shook hands with the SEC and got them to free pass. So like it's really messed up because like there's a new video that just came out recently, right? Where Joe Lubin, who's basically again he's a founder, like he's like a Charles Hoskinson, Gavin Wood, Charles Hoskinson from Cardano, and Gavin Wood from Polkadot. They're also founders of Ethereum, and so he's on their level. Like he's one of the core founders, right? The latest news that just came out is that they were allowing whales. They were actually like kind of how can I say this, like not even allowing, almost suggesting, letting them and telling them to buy from multiple accounts if they want to, and they don't even have to do any kind of KYC for the IDO. And so like when you see things like ETH isn't a security, you know, I personally think that it's the only reason why it's not a security is because they greased the palms and now they've been able to slide on in. And it's not just an attack on XRP and XLM. I wish I could figure out why Stellar has gotten away. I don't think it's just because of the nonprofit aspect either. Like I don't know why. I don't really know that far, but I can definitely tell you that there's forces at play to try and make it seem like ETH can be the only mastered node, like the master chain, right? And like any other layer one, even if it's more advanced, right? I'll try and keep this really short. Basically, they're trying to say now that any coin that raised money publicly is a security. So like then your only option would have been to go to accredited investors like EOS did, or like I think also IZP did that also. Like IZP was one of those ones where like venture capitalists swallowed up the entire supply, and that's how it got so high to begin with. But yeah, so they're gonna come down and they're gonna try and suggest that every single layer one is a security. So it's definitely something that worries me, that bothers me. That I've been learning this more and more and more lately. But yeah, that's my viewpoint on this, is that they're officially trying to, because basically like Ethereum already has ties with JP Morgan, right? JP Morgan is the biggest bank in the US, and I mean it's definitely one of the biggest banks in the world. And so Ethereum's already tied in, right? And R3 Corda also. Do you guys know about should I even go this far? Like, do you guys know about R3 Corda or?
Yeah.
A little bit.
So R3 Corda right now, they say their settlement method is XDC, right? But they're also working on an ETH layer 2 chain also. So like that's JP Morgan and that's R3 Corda. And like those are basically the two biggest of them all. Like the two biggest blockchain organizations of them all. And so yeah, I definitely think that there's a little bit of a colluded push of Ethereum. So yeah, that's how I feel about it.
It's just temporary though. Like honestly, it's not forever. And what they're building on, everything is cool, but they're gonna try to save it. You have so many people who are invested in it that have been in that space for a really long time. But let's not forget who XLM was designed for, and also XRP and the deals that they already have with central banks and everything. And Rothschilds like hold a shit ton of XRP. We already know these things, but
yeah, the Rothschilds connection is huge. Yeah.
XLM will reign after XRP. XRP will reign, after all of this shit. But XRP is going to be its own thing. Like, obviously, I just don't feel like... I feel like a lot of this is a shakeout, too, to get people to invest in ETH and everything right now as well. Like, I don't know. I obviously know they're doing a lot of things, but I was late to the party on ETH. I didn't get it when it was a penny, whatever. But that's why, like, I'm an XRP, like, XLM girl. And then everything that you can do off of these, the hidden stellar gems, like all the gems on the XRPL, there's literally so much you can just do and collect and hodl and keep making money until that time comes. So, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like it is an attack on the whole crypto community. If the lawsuit ends up bad, it's going to be bad for crypto in general, because Ethereum, there's a high level of entry because of the gas fees. With Stellar, we want to make a level playing field so we can bank the unbanked, and it gets back to the same place we were at previously. If you have to have so much in gas fees just to get transactions to go through,
we just have to be patient. That's all.
Yeah, I'm just listening to all of you, and I'm in agreement. I just think that you know, there's a huge nucleus of people in crypto that are anti-establishment, right? A lot of us are here because we think the centralized system is messed up, right? One of the reasons I'm in crypto is because I think, come on, we're being literally pillaged by the central bankers for way too many decades or centuries. We need to have a decentralized and they are not going to allow that to happen like a walk in the park. They're making trillions and trillions of dollars a year, and they're not going to allow. So it's, for me now, rather than it being anti, I think, okay, how can we still have our cake and they have their cake? There has to be an element of regulation and interconnectedness. And whereas I used to be completely against XRP and XLM because of the association, I was like pure decentralized, stay well away from the banks because I hate them. Now I've evolved more into okay, let's do this the right way, right? Let's try and, be the chains that can work with them. Because if essentially what I'm about is if I can provide generational wealth for my family, I don't really care if it's come with an association with central banks because
right.
I'm selfish. I'm selfish. I just want the best for my family and my children, right? And my philosophies on that have to kind of go to the side, and I have to look at what the sensible option is going to be.
I feel like it's kind of a Trojan horse. I mean, you're going to have to pick an option between being your own bank or going to a central bank. I mean, a lot of people are going to feel like they won whenever the central banks come in because they're going to be getting the UBI, all this free money, but there's going to be time limits. It's going to burn after a certain amount of time. You're only going to be able to spend it on this. If I have my money, I want to spend it on what I want to do. I want to be my own bank. I feel like a lot of people are going to have to make that determination when the time comes, if they want to be their own bank or if they want to go with the central bank and digital pounds, digital dollars, digital yen.
Yeah. I mean, I want to give you guys a real world example here. Like so I at one point I was full-time trading, and then I smashed it a little bit. So I started working again, and basically I work in a restaurant in New York City, a really nice restaurant, and I one of the chefs who recently left, he was talking about prices, right? And I asked him, he's an executive chef, like he does the orders for his new restaurant, right? And I asked him, like, on prices of food, like what would you say the increase has been in a year, right? And he's told me for certain meats, the price has doubled in a year. And like it's one of the things you guys are talking about with the central banks, like I really do think that the inflation numbers are lied about and manipulated. I think the inflation numbers are a lot higher. They're way, like literally 4 times or 5 times higher than what they're saying that they really are. Because at the end of the day, it's really about like real world cost. Like what the Dixie, basically, the Dixie is called the dollar strength index, right? And it says like we're at like 93 or 92, right? But that doesn't really reflect like if over 30% of the US dollar was printed last year, right? There's no way that the Dixie would only be 12% down. There's literally no way. Mathematically, it doesn't work. So yeah, it's definitely something that I think that most people in crypto are aware of, and it's wild because the thing that I didn't know last year that I understand now is that the key is that inflation drives the markets, right? So like the more the assets inflate, the more the dollar inflates, the more the prices of assets go up, and that's stocks, crypto, real estate, all of it. Because like if you don't have anywhere to put your money, you can't put it in bonds, right? Bonds are done because like bonds are yielding 2%, the inflation is above the bonds, so you're done, right? So now you only have stocks, property, and crypto, right? Stocks have been skyrocketing already. They're at the full fib retracement is what I've seen recently. Like they're saying like the U.S. stock market is at the highest fib that it could possibly be at for like the last like 10 years or whatever, right? And I think that, I think the stock market's gonna keep going, but like I think Matty GXRP is a little batshit crazy, but like I almost agree with his notion of like there's gonna be 2 types of people. It's like, did you have crypto or did you not? Because like at some point when this market cap hits $10 trillion or $15 trillion, most coins are going to be out of reach, and like the gains, they will slow down eventually. I mean, I think so, and even if a lot of the chains die, some of them are still going to be there. You know, even if it's 1%, even if 1% of the chains exist, that's still, I think, 1,000 chains, right? Like, we're not 1,000, but that's still a few hundred chains. Like, we're somewhere at about like 20,000 blockchains right now, or 20,000 different cryptos. And the number that was like a few months ago, so I don't even know what the number is now. So if only 1% of those still exist, it's going to be a decent amount. And yeah, I think that for sure, crypto is a way out of that whole central bank regime. And me too, personally, I'm trying to figure out a scenario how like I could leave it all behind, how I could leave Chase completely behind, and just either run my whole life off Coinbase or run my whole life off another app. Because at the end of the day, it's like, why pay all these fees? Why pay the high interest? Like, there's going to be offerings like you're already talking about. There's going to be loan offerings for positive interest or no cost whatsoever. Why continue to use a credit card that charges you 24 to 29 to 27%? Makes no sense. So
yeah, and the more people, I mean, we're seeing now the onboarding of more and more people. You touched on there, Dan, I think another key point. You talked about the general market cap, and you talked about trillions. Give us kind of your projection. I mean, I've spoke to a few people in the community and saying, you know, I'm thinking that's very, very feasible. We're going to see 5 trillion inside 2 years. You know, where do you think we're going to see in terms of like, you know, the overall market cap?
So I personally am a little bit more bullish than 5 trillion. I said 10, but 10's a little bit of ways. But like, for example, I think about 2 days ago, we were very close to 3. Like, I don't know if we crossed 28, but we were right there. Like, it was like 2750 or 2770 or something like that. And I was like, wow, like 3, like that's crazy. Like last year we were talking about 1. I think you remember, like last year there was a point where we were trying to break 1, you know? So yeah, I definitely think that there's more, that it could go higher than 5. I don't know. I don't want to be too hypey, but like, let's say 6 or 7, because I think that the inflation rate is going to snowball. It's going to get worse. So as long as it doesn't make people, like, if there's a stock market crash, right? I don't know what it's going to do this time. I don't know if a stock market crash is going to lead to a crypto crash, or if it's going to be like, get out of A and go to B. You know what I'm saying? It could be either way. So that's kind of the scenario that I am waiting on to decide of how bullish I'm going to be. But yeah, let's say 6 or 7. You know, by the end of 2022, because like you're saying, the utility is going to start going crazy, and also the metaverse trend that's happening now, like that's happening as of yesterday. Jenna knows about it too. Like the whole Facebook metaverse thing. My bags are flying, and I'm like, man, like this really could be it right now. Like, if as this metaverse thing becomes real, like as instead of working from home, there will be like a virtual office, like a real virtual office. You know what I'm saying? Like, where like huge. You're actually like almost in a room. You know what I'm saying?
Huge.
And yeah, I think that kind of stuff is going to drive the space even more. To finish the statement, like basically, I saw a tweet today, and it really caught my eye. And the tweet was basically saying, like, we live most of our lives digitally now, right? So people's flexes are going to be digital. You know, like people's NFTs are going to be like what you brag about. You know, your crypto collection is going to be what you brag about. You know, like right now people like buy cars and, you know, but soon it might be a world where that shit goes out the window. You know, where people are buying fucking NFT jewelry and people buying NFT cars. You know, because at some point you'll be able to access it in that metaverse, in that virtual world.
Yeah.
Well, I was just saying, you weren't on the show last week, but I just bought 3 of those mural screens, which is like basically
yeah. I want one myself.
Yeah, the like kind of next generation to digital picture frames for you people that don't know what they are. But then I think that now I've got one in the front room, right, in my house. So I've got one on the wall there, and then I just buy NFTs and I can just put them on a loop cycle. So that when people come around, they're like, "Whoa, that's cool!" Like, and I was like, "Oh, that's Sir Cheesley. He just did my dog as a historic pup." And like, "Whoa, where's this Sir Cheesley?" So I think, like you said, instead of having to have the physical things, it's going to be like kind of this blend, isn't it? Where you're going to be able to like have all sorts of shit going on with the holograms and like, you know, all sorts of crazy stuff. And it's going to be like where the reality touch, you know, that whole thing where you're not going to be sure on certain aspects what the hell is real and what's not. It's going to be amazing.
Right.
I love the NFTs you guys see, and I've just started learning about where, okay, like Funko and a lot of them, Anyway, so then that way you can get your NFT for it. You can trade it in for an actual physical toy or collector's item. And I think that that's great. And I think that's another way to actually help kids, like a lot of them, because if we can just get them like onboarded to set up certain wallets and be able to send these things, I think that's great because they can either collect it, hold it, sell it, do whatever they want for it. I just love that concept a lot. Like a lot.
Or lend it. That's the other thing too. Like there's going to be NFT lending too. And I think you were talking about that earlier in the beginning of the show. Jenna was asking you if you know anything that's doing any XLM projects that are doing NFT lending. And I don't know if I misheard you, but were you saying that that's going to be down the line? Like you think that you're going to see some kind of stuff like that on the Stellar blockchain?
I think that we're going to see. I'm working with a friend of mine, is a developer, enterprise architect, very, very, very clever dude. And I've got him to be reading through like the Stellar dev docs so that he can understand, because essentially if you don't understand it, computer program is like languages. It's like Chinese, it's English, French, and that kind of thing. And you have different, different. Obviously, I'm speaking more to the community there, Dan. So I'm sure you're well aware. But yeah, basically the different languages. It's not like you can just be an Ethereum dev, right, and then switch to Stellar, because it will be like, Solidity is the code that they code the smart contracts on Ethereum. It's not necessarily anything to do with what's going on Stellar. So you have to have this knowledge. So I got him to read through it, and to cut a long story short, he said, yeah, all of the stuff there that he's like capable in programming, all the languages. And so then I started speaking to him about ideas. NFTs is like kind of my idea ideas at the moment are centered around NFTs is probably the best way of putting it. But then staking as well. So gamifying it is one side. So I want to see really cool games with NFTs, not just in a kind of in a traditional kind of video game sense, but also in I want to build like a collector's card. Like we used to trade cards when we were kids, trading cards, something a bit like that, but like gamified. But then also staking NFTs and loaning off the back of NFTs. So if you buy an NFT and it costs you $3,000, being able to put that into a platform and do what I've just shown you, where you have that as the collateral, and then
and if the NFT depreciates too much, then you need to either put another NFT in or something because you have to keep that balance going.
Very much like you would put up a physical asset as ownership. So if you say you owned a Ferrari outright and you say, okay, here's the papers to my car, I'll borrow X amount on the basis of you having the papers for my car. I think it's going to work in that kind of way, where we can stake NFTs and yield bearing. I mean, it's a whole nother episode where we could talk about yield bearing NFTs and being able to buy NFTs. And I mean, Sir Cheesley, who's on the chat tonight, looking after the chat for us, he's a very, very talented artist. That's his side thing. He just does that as a side thing. Now, he was, and I were having a conversation. We were talking about trends, very much like trainers or sneakers, as you call them, over in the States, or fashion items. It could be coffee beans, it could be pixelated monkeys or whatever. But if you, as a designer, hit that right, plumb, on an idea, I mean, you can make, as we've seen, tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars on that NFT drop. So I think the whole space is just going to explode with creatives. We're going to see, as Stellar incorporates DeFi, we're going to see all these type of things in the next year, 2 years. And lending being a big part of that. I really think lending is going to explode. I mean, I looked at it and it's 60 trillion, right? Global lending. That's the size of the market. If we can take 10% of that into DeFi, right, from the traditional market, just 10%, that's 6 trillion the crypto market cap goes up by. It's madness.
Right. Yeah, no, 100%. And that's what I'm saying. It's definitely possible. But there's use cases like the XTC thing. XTC's been doing bad, to be honest with you. But like they're like you're saying, they're trying to take on a $19 trillion industry for trade finance. If they were to capture 1%, right, it doesn't even have to be a lot. Like you're saying, 1% of $30 trillion. What was the number? You said $60 trillion?
Yeah.
Yeah, 1% of $60 trillion. That's $6 trillion. Like you're saying, that's more than double the market cap right now. And yeah, it's definitely possible because right now there are slow, redundant, expensive methods that they're using. And they want it to be like that they have full control of that system. But the beauty of blockchain and of technology and the technology. I mean, you must know about this kind of stuff, but like technology it increases exponentially, right? And I think you guys have seen that. Like the amount of changes that I've seen in the last year of crypto are unreal, right? Like we went from Ethereum fees being too high to all of a sudden everyone moving to Binance Chain because Binance Chain was the cheap coin and like people were bridging everything over to Binance Chain, and then layer twos came across, right? And now there's new coins that are so fast that they don't even need a layer two anymore, you know. And what's going to happen next, you know? The whole high interest bearing loans, like I don't know, Ben, if you've seen like Spell or Time or Ohm or KlimaDAO, you know, I'm in KlimaDAO. KlimaDAO gives 8% a week, 8% every 5 days. It's like what? If you would have told somebody last year that there was going to be an interest bearing asset that gives you 8% every 5 days, what, like that would have been unheard of, you know?
Yeah.
So and like of course these are high risk plays, you know, like the coins that are going to give you that much high interest are wild and crazy, but at some point, especially as like algorithmic trading gets higher and stuff like that, I think that we're going to see a world where like there's going to be high interest bearing assets because of like the technology that's involved and allowed to do it. And like smart contracts are one part of it, but like I think algorithms are the next part of it. Like what happens when there's an algorithm that can persistently provide 20% a month, you know, and then they put that on a blockchain, and then all of a sudden anyone who invests in that coin and they stake that coin, they now get the proceeds of the algorithm. Those things are coming, you know, and as long as the government doesn't get in the way, I think we can add trillions to the market cap within the next year. So
yeah, I'm singing exactly the same song as you there, mate. I completely agree. I think it's just the magnitude is the only thing really for us to kind of debate, isn't it? It's just how big does this grow, and you know, and how quickly does it grow? It's not a case of whether it's gonna grow. It's gonna grow. I think that everyone now is coming on board. We've got Andrew Dixon, one of the best artists on Stellar, by the way. Go and check him out on Lightning. Some great stuff. He's done Stellar Punks and all of the other cool stuff. He's with us tonight. But yeah, I mean, he's just one. So Cheesy and all these other amazing, you know, artists that are there in the space. And this is just one place. This is just Stellar. You think that then the amount of people that creatives that are going to come into Stellar, the amount of creatives that are coming into the space in general, it's just blowing up, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Man, he's doing. It's funny. He's writing stories about wrestlers and wrestling. We know how popular and big that is. So he's being really, really creative with that. I don't know if you've seen his posts, but super cool stuff for Stellar.
Who's that? Sorry, Jen.
Human, and there's a couple numbers after his name. You'll see his Stellar post. He's a supporter of LSP, but he's
I think his name's Jack.
Oh, yeah. Jack Winetooth. Yeah, Jack. We know Jack. Jack's with us as well tonight.
Yeah, really cool.
I haven't seen his wrestling stuff, so I need to go and check that out. I've been drinking too heavily over the last 2 days. I've forgotten to go and check stuff out.
That's a good weekend, though, Ben. That's a good weekend.
Yeah, it's been a good weekend.
What are these wizard cats that Andrew Dixon is talking about? Do you know what that is, or is he just kidding?
I don't know.
I think he just got a new cat named Merlin. So I think his cat kind of has crypto magic powers, help him. NFTs. Did you see the NFT he made for me a few days ago?
No.
Yeah, the yellow kind of spiky hair.
Yeah, I had him commission me.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, he does a
Super Saiyan glow.
Mm-hmm.
Spiky hair.
Yeah, I had him commission me.
Oh, I'm on a lag. Right then, guys.
I found you. I found I was looking up the YouTube so I could see comments from everybody.
Okay. I was like, I can hear myself again. Okay, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. I think what we need to do, Dan, is we need to just give you an opportunity now for people that are listening to find you, because Vlad needs us to wrap up inside an hour for his uploading and all that sort of stuff. So let us know where we can find you, mate.
Yeah, definitely. So just 3 things. LTE DeFi Dan on Twitter. Same thing on YouTube. It's just DeFi Dan XRP chat. And also my Instagram is just Leave the Earth for LTE. And thanks for having me, guys. I had a great time here. It was really fun chatting with you guys. And my last thing is I'm glad to know that, you know, Ben, that you're so involved with other ecosystems, because now I know that, you know, one of the guys who's the head at Lumenswap, or, you know, the community head at least, you know, he has his eyes on other projects, and he knows if you have your eyes on other projects and you're familiar with other projects, it makes me more confident in Lumenswap, because if you're saying that Lumenswap has all this potential and you're involved in all the other coins that had massive potential, like Luna, for example, Luna was one of the best performers last year. It makes me more confident, and I think it should make the viewers more confident also in Lumenswap.
Yeah, that's great, mate. Thank you very much for those comments. But like for me, I pass on, I'm out there scouring every day, what's going on, what's the best thing, especially in DeFi. I love it. It's my passion. So I'm fine. And I'm taking that and I'm going back to the devs and I'm saying, this is what, we need to be including. This is where this, the cutting edge is going to be. And I think someone asked earlier on, just to be really, really quick, someone asked about the features, because we haven't done a lot of Lumenswap stuff. We're hoping Friday is going to be the first feature. And I think with what's been talked about a lot tonight, you're all going to be really excited with what's coming on Friday. And then, of course, we've got beg your pardon. Friday is going to be the third, which is going to be Wednesday. I do apologize, will be when the AMMs get voted on. Right. So that's going to be the first thing to look out for Wednesday. Then we're going to be hopefully having our feature on Friday. So the first thing is the vote. The second thing is the secret feature that's going to be released. You guys are going to love that. And then we're looking at the 10th because we want to make sure that things are running correctly for you guys. So we're looking at the 10th for the automated market maker launch. They're trying to pull that back as close to the 3rd as they can, if it's obviously a positive vote. But they're trying to pull it back to as much as they can to the 3rd, but we want it to be right. We don't want it to be glitching. We don't want it to break. We want that to be right, and that's the reason why we're taking a little bit more time to ensure you guys have got it. Okay, so you guys have got another great feature from Lumenswap. All right. Anyway, last words, guys.
ETH Bridge. Tell them ETH Bridge. That's it. That's my last words. ETH Bridge. That's the thing I'm most excited about. I'm just one little fish, but one little fish's opinion is ETH Bridge.
It was good having you on, Dan. We definitely have to have you on again.
Thank you guys so much. Appreciate
Cheers.
it. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye, Sam.
See ya.
Happy